So gentlemen, you went out and got you some nice clothes. You've got yourself some nice ties. But now you're like, hey, Big Pretty, I don't know how to coordinate my colors. Well, we're going to fix that today. We're going to go scientific with the color wheel here on Big Pretty Man. Hi, and welcome back to Big Pretty Man, the channel for the extra large man who likes to live his life large and in charge. I'm your host, Timothy Big Pretty Crowe. I'm a wardrobe and lifestyle consultant for the extra large man. Okay guys, today I'm keeping my promise. I've been talking about this doing this video for a couple of weeks now, and here it is. Video on the color wheel. You know, there are a lot of people out there, you know, or at least, well, let's say some people out there, have an innate and instinctive ability of knowing what colors go with what. They understand tone and shade and hues and temperature of colors, and you know what contrasts and what just doesn't work. They just know this instinctively. They've got a good eye for it. But there are a lot of guys out there that just have no clue. And if they're not careful, when they put their clothes on, they think they look great, but they end up walking out, you know, in a bunch of really loud colors, and they end up looking, well, like a clown. Let's just say it. You know, you end up walking out. You think you look in the mirror and you think, oh, I look great. And you walk outside and people are like, is Ringling Brothers in town? I thought that they closed. I thought they shut down. And we don't want that. So I'm going to help you with that. I'm going to give you the one thing that guarantees that if you follow it, you will not go wrong with color schemes and what goes with what. And that is the color wheel. Why? Because it's scientific. And, you know, so we're going to science in our fashion now. Okay, first let's talk about what is the color wheel. The color wheel is a wheel showing the different ranges of color based upon the rainbow and the refraction of light and how we perceive color from light. Now, this was come up with by Sir Isaac Newton, who was doing research on refracting light from a beam of light and the colors that made up white light. And he included this in his book Optics, which was after 1665. I think he published it in the 1670s, and where he was talking a lot about it having to do with not only the optics but with gravity and the earth and all of this with light refraction. However, it quickly became very handy for artists and figuring out the different the color schemes, the natural color schemes, and also how to mix colors to get different types of color hues, and this affected art pretty much after Sir Isaac Newton. For all the great masters, of course, knew this color wheel, and it's still taught today. Now that's great for art. That's great for science, but we can use it for fashion, to figure out what colors go with what in our outfits. Now let's get started on that. Now the first colors you need to know from the color wheel are the primary colors. Primary colors are colors that are stand on their own. They're not made up from any other color. And these colors, there's three of them: red, yellow, and blue. Nothing makes those colors. So, they stand on their own. Now, the secondary colors are colors that are made up of two different primary colors. And there are basically three of those. There is purple, orange, and green. Purple made up of blue and red. I'm sure you learned this in school. We had the little panels of the different, plastics you put together. But anyway, so you had, purple is blue and red combination. Orange is, of course, red and yellow. And green is blue and yellow. So those make up these are the secondary primary colors, you could call them. Now the next ones that you need to know are what's known as tertiary or intermediate colors, and these are made up of mixing equal amounts of a primary and a secondary color. So say you take blue true blue and you take green, put them together, you get a color like teal. Matters on how much of the color you're using, but you know, if you're mixing equal amounts, you're going to get a color like teal. And another word for that would be, you always base it on the main color. You would say bluish green or blue green. You wouldn't say greenish blue. That's technically incorrect. Yeah, I'm just telling you the rules. I didn't make them up. So, but you know, also you can think of like indigo and fuchsia and all these other colors. Technically, pink, I guess, would fall in that category. Even though, well, pink actually would, yeah, would actually be more of a combination of red and white, which we're going to talk about those now. But that is a combination of colors. Now, the next thing you need to know about on the color wheel is what's known as analogous colors, and these are groups of colors that are next to each other, and they're sharing a common color. So as you go look like at say orange on the color wheel, you will see around it, especially going towards the yellow, to the colors that it came from, and red, and then on the other side going toward red, you'll see kind of a reddish orange, and then that scheme kind of going off, and then going toward the yellow, you see kind of a yellowish orange, a little brighter forms of orange going towards the yellow. So those would be its tertiary colors, its intermediate colors, because it's intermediate between those two colors. Okay, now these are going to be good things to know when you start dressing. I think maybe you start to see it. Now the next one, and probably what I consider for wardrobe the most important, is what's known as complementary colors. They could also call them contrasting colors. And these are colors that are on the direct opposite of a color. For instance, if you look on the color wheel, it's right across, if you look at blue, right across from it is orange. So that is its complementing or contrasting color. And that right there is very important. It's going to work really well in your wardrobes, which I'm going to talk about an example of what I'm wearing in a few minutes. Now, the next one that you kind of need to know, and this is handy too, is what's known as split complementary. And that is a variation of complementary. In addition to base color complement, it includes colors around and next to that also complement. Okay, so other words to shorten that up, I know it sounds confusing, but if you take, say, like you have, we'll use the blue and orange again. Blue on one side, orange on the other side. Well, the colors, the analogous colors around the blue and the orange on each side, those are complementary to each other, and they're also kind of complementary to the main color. So the shades of like kind of of blue, the different shades of blue that are around main blue, and the different shades are all those, like light blue is going to still work with orange, and same thing with, say, like more of a burnt orange or a red, an orangish red, a reddish orange, see, that's still going to work also with blue. So, and also each one of them on each side are going to work well for each other. Okay, you kind of get what I'm saying? Okay, now the other things you need to know about the color wheel, and these are really important as well, are what's known as like temperature. Different colors are seen as having a certain type of temperature. Now, red and yellow, and then also kind of including the colors around them, are seen as warm colors. So that would also therefore also include orange. The colors in the spectrums of red and then the spectrums of yellow would be seen as warm colors, whereas blue is seen as a cool color, also green. So the ranges between blue and green would also be seen as cool colors, and those come in handy, in what you're dressing, what you're going for, and also with your color schemes. Okay, now You know you're going to probably, then also the next thing you have is tint, and tint and shade. Tint is actually whenever you mix white to a color. That's tint. If you remember on your TV, you turn it all the way up, down, it gets really bright white, or it goes all the way down to black. So it's the added to it, and actually kind of pink is like kind of a lot of white added to a bit of red. That makes a pink. So technically that would be within that tint. Now shade is just the opposite. It's black added to a color. So like a blackish red, a dark red with a dark blackish red, a dark green, a real dark green, like garbage bag green. That's kind of a blackish, it's kind of a blackish green. So that's, and then of course within that you also have hue. Hue is the different color spectrums within a color. So if you're going from like the relative lightness of a color, so from the different spectrums in a color, light blue, dark blue, like in the tissue colors, because even true blue will have different levels of hue. Okay, so and of course highest intensity of the color is what's known as true hue. So true blue, true red, and you actually, when you're dressing, I'll tell you right now, and you want to avoid looking like Bozo the Clown, avoid the highest intensity, the true hue. You want some variance in there. At least if you are going to do it, you need to put lower type, different hues in to complement. Okay. So how do you use this? And here's the good thing. Once you use it, you can always use it. First, I want to say, well, where would I get this? Well, you've got two choices. You can either go out and you can get the actual little cardboard one, and most fabric stores or even department stores, you can get a color wheel. You can order one offline. They got the little slide thing so you can see what's complementing and the colors, and all this. Or, we're in the technical age, you can download an app on your phone. I know that iPhone has an app. I'm sure Android does as well. Or I'm going to put down in the description a good website for a really good color wheel site, so that you can use. And it's good to have it on your phone too, because if you're out somewhere, or if you're wanting to put an outfit together, you've always got your phone with you, so you can just like, okay, let's see what this looks like. And actually, some of the examples I'm going to be using actually come from the iPhone app, the ones I'm using up here. Now you may be asking, well, in the color wheel, we don't see brown. Well, brown is actually made up of a bunch of different colors, so it's actually not in that spectrum. Brown kind of, and actually we'll talk about brown and what brown can go with a little bit later. Also, you'll know that there is not black and white, because they're technically not considered colors. They're considered neutrals, but there is a different scale for that, and it's called the Grayscale, which is a mixture, different mixtures in tint and in shade, going from solid white through the grays all the way to the dark black, and that's a different color scale. You can also use that one. You can also use it to incorporate with regular color wheel if you're using gray in your outfits. Okay. Now, within this color wheel, we're going to talk about how you can now use it in your outfits. Now, there are several different combinations of way to use the color wheel. I'm going to talk about basically one that is become very prevalent, and that is the monochromatic. The monochromatic is it's where you take one particular hue, running from its lightest to its darkest, to its true, and creating an outfit only on that color scale. So say you take blue, and it'd be all the colors of blue, or the range of blue within your outfit. Now, or it can even, be, it shouldn't be the exact same hue, just all flat blue, but it should be within the different hues and the tints of that color. So, which also you can find in the color wheel listed below. Now, it's become very popular in the last few years. Personally, I'm not very fond of it. I think monochromatic is a little too monotonous. I've seen it can be done right. I have seen it done well. I've worn it a few times. I've done it a few times, but I really don't care for it. But most of the time, I think it looks boring. I think it just makes you fade out. There's no standout to these type of suits, these type of outfits. I mean, I've even seen like this one here where it's all beige. Who wants, you look like clay. You look a big wad of clay with a head. Is that what you want? I mean, is that appealing? I don't get it. I mean, but if it is something you want to do, you can use the color wheel with using the different hues within the color to make that work. If that's what you want, go for it. Me, I like my outfits to pop. I like contrast. I like complementary colors. I like to have different designs, and I like to make them work. To me, that's part of the fun. So that's what we're going to talk about next. Is like how you can use the color wheel and just to use complementary as well as split and analogous colors within your outfit to make it work. And now we're going to go with my outfit right now. Now, as you see, I'm wearing a sport coat, a brown small check sport coat, or at least it so appears, because if you really look, it also has a running blue check within it. A window pane within it. It's very subtle, but it is there. And I'm also wearing the blue shirt and a blue and white patterned vest. Now I'm going to look at that, and I'm like, so what am I? So I'm going to look at the color wheel. Now, as I said, brown is made up of different colors. It's not in the color wheel. However, if you look at most browns, there's kind of an orangish tint to it. A lot of times, matter on the shade of brown. I mean, really dark brown like my hat, maybe not. But, in this, you can kind of, yellow, orange is kind of a color that's kind of in there. And because of that, unless it's a very, very, even with a very, very dark brown, you can use brown is kind of the way you would use, in the spectrums of like an orange. And therefore, what's the opposite of an orange? Blue. So brown and blue look good together, just like brown and orange. But now, so I put on the blue shirt and this blue waistcoat. Now, because of that, what was my choice going to be of tie? Well, I've kind of stayed in that color scheme, and I picked this micro pattern silk orange tie, and it has a blue it has a blue design within it. So I'm getting that, which also kind of complements the subtle window pane in this sport jacket. So, and of course, orange and blue are the two complementary colors, right? And the vest would actually be part of the analogous colors of blue, or you could even say it could be a different hue of blue, which that works. So I have the complementary color. I have a light blue, which is a combination of, which is a tint of blue, and I have this other shade of blue with the white, and of course, light blue is a mixture of white and blue, and I've got a white and blue pattern vest on. Okay, so that, and of course, that works with the brown, because blue goes with brown and the blue within it. So so it works. Now, as far as my accessories, you guessed it. Well, what are the colors that make up orange? Well, orange. Well, one of them is yellow, the other one is red. Now, so I have worn an orange and yellow boutonniere, which that goes well with the brown, complements the brown because it's kind of an, it's not quite analogous, but it is in with kind of within that hue of the different shades of orange, like burnt orange and all that. It works. You know, it's not completely accurate, but it works. You know, so that complementary. And of course, for my, so got a little slippage here, for my pocket square, what do I have? I have this nice patterned micro patterned pocket square of white, blue, and orange. So now all of this is working together. And even though if I stood back, I'm actually wearing a pair of beige pants. So I was trying to think of the color here. They weren't kind of yeah, they're kind of a darker beige pants, which also complements with the brown. So it's kind of giving me a little bit of the monochromatic, you know. So I've got a brown, I've got kind of a beige color. So I'm kind of staying within the brown color themes, and that's how you do it. Now there are different ways, you know, there are different ways to do it. And note, none of these colors I'm wearing are the true colors, for the exception maybe of the of my boutonniere. Now they're pretty much true yellow, you know, and you know they're true hue, they're true yellow, true orange. But you want that pop there. It's a little bit of pop. But everything else in my outfit is a hue or a different shade of something. It's not the true colors. So, and that of course, even this is kind of a burnt orange. And that keeps it from being just too bright, too much, you know. Think about clown pants, which are bright red and bright orange. Think about Ronald McDonald, bright red, bright orange. I mean, bright yellow, bright, you know, bright red, bright yellow. It's just too much. So, in what I'm wearing here, you know, everything is a bit subdued down. So that's how you do it. So, you know, so if you were putting on, say, something in yellow, well, you know, you may want to go for different shades in yellow. Look at your, you know, look at your color scheme. Look across to the color that complements yellow, which is kind of like, I think it's like a purplish color. Those are going to go work well together. So the complementary, if you go with complementary colors and the colors around the tertiary colors and the analogous colors, you can't go wrong, you know, with those complementary colors. Whatever color you got, look across, what is it? You know, and look at the colors around it. And use those for your ties, use those for your shirts, use those, you know, base it around one color as the big main color, and the complementary color will be the secondary color, and make it all work together. Okay? And that's how you do it. Now, I know that's a bit confusing, but trust me, if you get the color wheel, if you get the app, or if you get what go to the website I had it alone, and you start playing with it, you know, and playing with these definitions, you will get it. And here's the thing, you can't go wrong with this. This is science. Okay, guys, that's it for the color wheel for this video. I hope it's helpful. You know, so go out, you know, pull out your quad 5, your outfits, pull out your ties, get that color wheel. Either, you know, get a paper one, get the app, or use the one in the description below. Start spinning it around, looking at those complementary colors and tertiary colors, you know, and start getting your combination going. And you're going to find that if you use the color wheel, you can't go wrong, and you're going to look fantastic. And when you go out, people are going to be like, "Wow, I love how well you're put together." You know, who's your designer? Who, you know, who does your wardrobe? You can look at them and say, Sir Isaac Newton, which is a heck of a brag. So anyway, you guys have any questions, please, you know, leave me a comment below. I do read them, and I'll get back to you. Also, you can reach me on Facebook. You can reach me on Twitter. You can reach me on Instagram. And also, if you're liking my content, if you like to listen to my big mouth, as I've been saying, then please hit this this King Henry head here with my pretty face. Smash it and give me and subscribe. I'd love to have you. Okay, so get out there and get those complementary colors going on. Get looking sharp. And until I see you next time. Stay pretty.